Hey, hi, my name is Dr. Comproni, and this is Conversation Across Cultures, and this is my podcast. Welcome to my podcast, and I forgot your name again.
My name is Sia Achimaipembe, but I go by Michelle.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're originally from Ghana, is that
Yeah,
correct?
born and raised in Ghana.
Oh, wow. And what was it like growing up in Ghana?
It was a lot of fun. I would go to my grandma's every weekend. My mom was sort of a single mother at that time because
Mm-hmm.
my dad was in the United States, and
Oh,
he would only visit like during the summertime or like once a year or once every 2 years. So I didn't really get to see my father as
all the
often
time.
all the time. So
Oh,
it was mostly my mom and my grandma and grandpa that really raised me when I was back home in Ghana.
okay. And where were you in Ghana? Like in
Um,
the city or the
yeah,
countryside?
I was in Kumasi, which is the city side, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
Patasi to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a American girl,
Okay.
but I would also go to Accra, Tema, to be with my auntie at times. So
Okay, so Accra is the capital, is that correct?
yeah, Accra is the capital.
Okay, and is that on the coast, the place where you were living, or is it, where is it kind of, what is it like there? What does it look like?
Accra to me was very.
Oh, sorry,
You're
I
good.
was eating that up. I apologize.
You're good. Accra to me was more on the fancy side. Like it was given more suburban vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least in Tema where my auntie lived.
Mm-hmm.
But in Kumasi, it was more like the city life where it's like
Oh, okay.
everything is there.
Oh,
But
okay.
I was so young, so I can't really give you the exact accurate description.
Okay.
But it was more so I saw more people like interacting with each other in Kumasi than in Tema, Accra. Maybe because of the neighborhood differences.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Okay, and how much more developed is it? I mean, is there a difference, or there's obviously a big difference between the
Yeah.
city and the countryside?
Yeah, so with Tema, most of the neighborhood, well, at least the neighborhood that my auntie was staying at, looked
Mhm.
like the suburban neighborhoods here in
Okay.
the United States. But where I was living in Kumasi was more so, it gave more Ghana homey feel. And
Okay.
I feel like the place that my auntie was staying is more so for like people from the diaspora that will come and
Oh
stay
yeah,
there. So it was more so the
I
good.
understand what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
but like in Kumasi, it felt like a real, like in Patasi State, at least that's where I lived, it felt like the real Ghana. Because the
Okay.
roads were not even completed. Like you
They
couldn't
weren't
see
completed.
like
Okay.
gravel laid on the roads. It was
Oh,
more so
okay.
like dirt roads, but the houses were like developed. But it's just the road and like how the houses were constructed was way different to when you go to Tema compared to
Okay,
Patasi.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. And when you talk about the real Ghana feel, for people who don't know that, and then like people who visit, they might not always see the real thing.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is like? What are some of the differences? Is it also like the culture and the people there, in that particular?
Yeah. One difference that I noticed when I go to my auntie's place is her place was more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically like how American neighborhoods are.
Okay.
But when I go back home in Patasi, it was like you hear churches praying from next door.
Okay.
You hear neighborhood neighbors just being neighbors, loud screaming.
Okay.
You hear neighbors talking to each other, kids playing on the streets, playing football, soccer.
Right.
We call soccer football.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So you see kids like neighborhood kids just playing with each other, socializing with each other. So that's what I feel like it's more so.
Less barriers between people too.
Yeah.
Is it more communal life than like kind of sometimes in America it's almost like we talked about this like
Yeah.
so capitalistic and so individualistic and
Yeah.
gaining money and
It's
things.
more so community based
Mhm.
back at home. Like, if I remember when I would go to my my
Mhm.
grandparents' house, I could just roam around. At that time, I was in elementary school.
Uh-huh.
Kids that age can
Uh.
roam around freely
Oh.
without, grandparents or parents worrying that their kids will get kidnapped or anything because it was safe
It was
back
safe.
at home. And the whole community knew everyone's kids and grandkids. So if one kid gets lost,
Mhm.
they'll find find them back home because they know who your grandma is, they know who your mother is, they know who your uncle is. I remember one time I roamed around the whole day
Mm-hmm.
and I got lost. I
Uh,
got completely
you
lost.
did. And let's see. So you're talking about also the safety, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. I felt like that was true kind of also when I was living in
Yeah.
China because there's not the guns and things like
Mhm.
that. So you can walk when it's
Literally
dark
free.
outside and you're
Yeah.
not afraid of
Yeah.
somebody coming around with a gun and shooting
Literally.
everybody, right?
Literally.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. I roamed around to the evening and I got lost. I did not know how to get back home.
Oh my
And
gosh.
one of the neighbors, I guess, saw me roaming around. They were like, "Isn't Nanajo? Aren't you Nanajo's granddaughter?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Your grandma has been looking for you. Come here, let's go." And
Uh,
she took me right back to my home. And
oh, okay.
it's just that
That's good.
safe back at home. Like
That's
kids
good.
can be sent outside to go buy, groceries in the
Mm-hmm.
evening and come back home safely because the community was just very safe and just very close together. So it wasn't any type of safety concerns back at home compared to here. You can't send a 5-year-old to go to the corner store
Right.
to go get groceries.
Can be very
It's
dangerous.
very dangerous. Your child can get kidnapped. Anything can happen to the child. You could even get arrested for that because that's seen as child neglect here in
Right.
the United States. But back at home, it's nothing like that. But then I don't know if it still applies to today because things change.
That's
People
true.
change. So
How
but
long
that,
has it been since you've been
um,
back to Ghana? Like,
it's been about 16 years. So
oh,
it's been
a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. So I don't know how much has changed, but every time I have conversations with my cousins and my friends back
Mm-hmm.
at home, they still say not much has changed. So I'm pretty sure it still applies to today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what did you feel like when you came here to the United States? Can you remember
Oh
that?
my goodness. It was a huge shocker from the scene. It doesn't even help that my first location here in the United States was Brooklyn, New York. Because
Okay.
that's where a lot of the African immigrants, that's your first stop in the United States.
Okay,
New
that's
York.
interesting.
So, because a lot of my family are from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dad's side, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them are from Brooklyn, New York. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where we came to first. And it was just, the first thing I could think of was, is this America? Like, is this the America they've been talking about this whole time? It just, I wanted to go back home immediately. I was just
Oh,
like,
really?
what is this, child? Like, what
Yeah.
is going on? I was just so confused, like the smell of cigarettes, and because back at home, smoking is very frowned upon.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
yeah, it's just part of our culture. Like,
Right.
it's not encouraged, it's not normalized.
Oh, that's
If you see
actually
someone-
good.
Yeah, if you
Because
see
people are
someone-
healthier then.
Exactly. So if
Mm-hmm.
you see someone indulging in those kind of activities, they're kind of looked at as different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Someone not to really associate yourself with.
With, yeah.
Yeah, compared
Mm-hmm.
to here, it's normalized. So when I got to New York and I landed, and I got that whiff of cigarettes, I said, "Ooh, what is this?" It was just a different stench to me, the roads, and I'm just like, this is kind of close to Africa, where the roads being littered and stuff like that. So it's like, what's the difference? Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And my first day of school, I realized that they put me in some kind of ESOL class
Mm-hmm.
because they assumed that I didn't know how to speak English.
Oh.
But back at home,
They didn't know that English is an official language in
everywhere.
Ghana.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know why they assumed that, but
Mm.
they just assumed that I didn't know how to speak English. And
You probably knew how to speak better than some
I
Americans.
did. I actually did, and because I also went to a private school back at home. The school
okay.
system is very different. I ended up being ahead, like reading 2 grades ahead of my classmates. And it's like, you assume that I can speak English because I'm an immigrant from Africa, but I'm literally ahead of my class. And they had to put me in a program where, like, I I don't know how to explain the program, but it was like a program where like advanced students were in terms of reading,
Oh,
and also in maths too. Like I was ahead of my classmates because I don't know what was going on in the American education system, but I just every work that my teacher gave me, it was like this is too easy. Like what I'm doing more than this back at home. Like what's going on here?
right.
Because back at home, to be cool is to be smart.
Oh, okay.
If you don't know anything, you're kind of made fun of. So being smart is like very cool, but then it's the opposite here. When
It's
I
kind
came
of a
here, I
little like
realized,
Chinese culture there,
yeah,
that part. I mean,
it's
that's,
very opposite here.
hmm
If you're smart, you're bullied, but if you
that
don't know
does,
much, it's like you're the cool kid. If you don't do your work, if you disrespect your teachers, you're the cool kid. But if you love education, if you love school, you're the nerd, you're the geek, you're
right.
made fun of. So it was,
That's so
yeah, it
wrong.
was very
It's
backwards.
detrimental to our country, to
Yeah,
this country. Yeah.
and back at home, I realized we valued education a lot. But when I came here, it was like the kids were not eager to learn like how we are back home,
Mm.
and it was a very big cultural shock to me. And the disciplinary actions as well here in the United States, like I realized that kids can talk back to their teachers and not face any consequences, but back at home the parents gave teachers not saying this is good, but the parents gave teachers permission to whoop you if you were out of line. Like you did not dare to disrespect your teacher because we had this cultural thing where all you show all of your elders respect.
Right. I really like that.
Yeah, without it being the lunch lady, the custodian, any elders, anybody older than you, you just give them their genuine respect. You don't talk out of line, you don't disrespect anybody. You show manners and respect to anybody older than you and towards each other as well. So when I would see kids here in the States just disrespecting teachers, not listening to the teachers, when the teacher's trying to help them,
Right.
it was a big cultural shock to me. And I could
My wife
literally-
had problems with that
yeah, I
in
could literally
high
feel my
school.
blood pressure rising because
Mhm.
I was scared. I was scared for the students, and just to realize, oh, nothing is gonna happen to them. If they disrespect the teachers, they can just get away with it.
And in fact, something can happen to the teacher.
Exactly.
The teacher can
If
get
they do
fired
anything, yeah,
if they don't
fired.
please the student.
Right.
So it's kind of they don't have
Yeah.
authority here.
Yeah.
Sometimes the teachers do
It
not
was
have the authority.
very shocking
Mhm.
when I got here. I was just like, wow. To the food too. Like my first time I ate pizza when I got here, and we had pizza back at home in Ghana too, and it
Mhm.
was completely different.
Completely different. That's
Like,
interesting.
oh my god, the taste was just. I was so disappointed because I'm thinking, yeah, the pizza here is good in Ghana. How much more of America is gonna be amazing? I had the pizza and it was the worst pizza I've ever had my entire
Oh
life.
jeez.
It just tasted like chemicals. The tomatoes did not taste real.
That's
like,
horrible.
It was just horrible.
There are some good places in New
Yeah,
York
there
City,
are.
but I think there's a lot of
But,
not so many authentic
yeah,
places anymore.
Yeah. So it was just like maybe things have changed, but yeah, that was my personal experience. It was just like insane to me, and the school, how they feed the children too was very shocking to me because back at home, kids like food is taken very serious because it basically energizes your body, so they make sure the children are well fed.
That's really
So,
important.
Yeah, it's very
I mean,
important.
also for everybody, right?
Exactly. So I would think the school will put more effort in the food for the students,
Mhm.
like how they did back at home. Like I could eat a whole meal, come back, and I'll be fed. I
Right.
didn't have to eat any snacks, anything because they fed me good.
Oh,
At
okay.
at school, like
Right.
fresh food, like home cooked food, because they have a whole kitchen, with like fresh produce, fresh food. They get
Oh,
like
that's so delicious.
every child will always be excited for lunchtime because we know we're gonna get fed really good.
Mhm.
So when I came here and it was lunchtime, I see cheese sticks, tomato soup, grilled cheese, all of these artificial food, and I'm over here like, I starved my first day because I couldn't eat it.
Right.
It smelled horrible to me. I tried to taste it because I'm not picky when it
Right.
comes to food.
Right.
Because that's just how I was raised, not to be,
That.
just try everything,
Oh,
because you
okay.
never know.
That's good.
I tried it and it was just, I just tasted chemicals. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
why are they feeding us this? Like,
Right.
this should
That's
be a
right.
crime.
Yeah.
This
People
is
don't
not
know
even
any better.
healthy. They don't know any better. And the kids are eating and thinking it's good, but it's like, y'all don't have it good here. This is supposed to be America.
Right.
How is it that I'm in Africa eating good at school, having a great educational system, but in America, y'all not having it good and y'all don't even see that. And
No.
it's just so, it was so sad to me. And I went back home and I told my mom, like, I couldn't eat the lunch food because it was just disgusting. And
Right.
she started laughing. She was like, you miss back home, huh? And I'm
Right.
like, I do. I want to go back. But
Do you cook some African meals,
yeah,
like Ghanaian meals?
yeah, I did now. Right now, I'm off campus. I have my own apartment.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's the thing too. Another thing about my culture back home, kids are taught at a very young age to start cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew how to. My mom started me with the dishes when I was like almost a toddler. She literally put a stool at the kitchen.
Oh, that's
And
great.
she had me start washing dishes, and I started washing clothes with my hands too. When I was in second grade, I
Wow.
helped my mom wash clothes with my hands. My mom would send me to like the riverside to go fetch water to
Wow.
help with to help collect the water for the week, and also help collect the water for the dishes for the clothes for the
Right.
week. So it was like being active, helping out with the chores back at home was so normalized that kids will learn how to cook by the age of 8 because it
Wow.
was so normal.
And are you surprised? Like I've asked my students, do you know how to cook? And like the majority say they don't know how to cook.
Know how to cook.
And then also a lot of them don't even want to learn.
Yeah,
I
and
was
it's
surprised.
crazy. It's a basic, thing that I feel like every adult should know how to do.
Yes.
Because it's like you can't always buy outside food. You can't always eat outside, and you save more money cooking.
You
at
save a
home.
lot more money.
So it's like, why not learn how to cook? You're bullied back at home if you don't know how to cook.
Oh, really?
At the age of like at least 13. If you're 13 and you cannot cook, you're
That's
looked
like
at like,
surprising.
what's wrong with you? Like,
Right.
what is your mom doing? Like, does she need help raising
Right,
you?
right.
So it's like it was a big cultural shock to me here. Yeah.
So when you came here, were you just living with your father, or did your mother also come eventually?
Yeah, my mom. So it was my mom and my brothers. We all came together to join my dad.
Oh, okay.
In New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then can you talk about like how do you at what point do you feel like you really started to adapt more to American culture?
I kind of had to force myself to adapt quickly because
Mhm.
kids are very cruel.
Yes, that is true.
So yeah.
I heard there's a lot of bullying.
Oh my goodness, I
schools.
faced more than enough bullying when I
That's
came
horrible.
here. It was horrible, but
Yeah,
kids will be kids.
that's
so
true.
It's like,
They will do that here.
Yeah.
So you have to be tough,
yeah, you
right?
have to be tough. And
Mhm.
back home too made me build a tough skin because like they'll make fun of you, but just to, give you a tough skin to defend yourself.
Right.
But the bullying, I feel like the bullying back at home was different. It was more so harmless and
Mhm.
joking, but here it was like, nah, like I don't
Mhm.
like you. Yeah, I
Yes.
don't mess with you. Like I feel like the bullying here is more dangerous than back at home
Yes.
because it really does something to you. Like when I came here, I didn't know my skin color was a problem.
And why should it be a problem in
Yeah,
the
why
first
should
place?
it? Yeah, like
That's
back
crazy.
at home, everybody is black.
Right.
Everybody is African. It doesn't matter if you're dark skin, light skin, brown skin.
Right.
You're you. You're seen as a human being, not
Right.
your skin color or the tone of your skin.
Right.
When I came here, it was like I didn't realize I was dark skinned until I came here, and I started getting picked on because I was dark skinned.
That's crazy.
And
within the black community
within
as well.
the black community as well. And I was like, wait, I thought
Right.
racism is I'm supposed to experience racism with white people. Why am I experiencing that with people that I thought would, be my friends?
Exactly. And you're not the only person who has told me that,
So it was a huge shocker to me, and it was so heartbreaking to me because as a kid I looked up to, African Americans because I I thought we were all the same.
Right.
So it's like I saw them as like, oh, my diaspora brothers and
Mm-hmm.
sisters, and I was
Right.
so excited to form connections with them when I come to
Of
the United
course.
States.
Right.
So it was very heartbreaking for me when I was made fun of because of my skin color or because of my accent. But that still didn't stop me from trying to form, relationships with people in my community. Because
Right.
it's always the bad apples in every community.
That's true.
So that doesn't mean all African Americans are bad because of one bad
No,
experience.
no, no, not at all.
Because there's always going to be those bad apples.
You think it's also like the structural
Yes,
racism and
most
internalized
definitely.
racism?
Yeah, definitely. And at that time, I was a kid, so I didn't understand that. But as I got older, I realized it's just an insecurity of your own that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I got bullied all the way up to high school. I didn't know, I was beautiful until I came to Hampton University,
That's good.
When
Yeah.
people would literally come
I mean,
up
that's
to me.
bad that you didn't
Yeah.
know that until then, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
good that you
Yeah.
felt that way here. That's
Yeah, like,
good.
I'm so glad I chose Hampton University because
Mhm.
it's like I didn't know, like, all of my life I saw myself as ugly because of my natural hair, because of my skin color.
That's
Because
ridiculous.
I got bullied
Yeah.
for it. So when I came to Hampton University and I'll see people just like me wearing their natural hair, other girls dark skin like me,
Right.
feeling confident in your skin tone and people complimenting me because of my skin tone. I would look at them confused because it's like, what do you mean I'm pretty? What do you mean I'm beautiful? What do you mean you like
Right.
my hair? Like,
Right.
I've never gotten these compliments before until I had to really look within myself and be like, oh, they lied to you.
Right.
You are not ugly. They just had, their own personal issues within themselves and they were
That's
projecting
true.
their insecurities on you. And that.
But it's amazing that people can project their insecurities onto other
Yeah.
people and then take advantage of them and try to hurt them and be so mean-spirited, and that really shouldn't exist. Like, people should be appreciating diversity and embracing diversity, and then that's part of what makes our human experience beautiful, right? So.
And I didn't only have that experience within my community. I had that experience with, people of non-color as
Right.
well. And that was when I was in Colorado.
Wow.
Colorado really showed me. Well, I experienced colorism in New York and California. I moved around a lot.
So were there different kinds of racism or discrimination in different places from the non-black community, from white people and others?
So with people from my community,
Mm-hmm.
it was more so colorism because
Mhm.
it wasn't a racism situation. It was more so colorism.
Right, colorism,
But,
where they're saying lighter skin versus darker skin.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was outside my race, it was more so racism because
Mm-hmm.
people would not really want to get close to me because of the color of my skin. People would make fun of me because of where I came from. They'll make offensive comments.
So not only racism, but also like anti-foreign things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it was very.
Xenophobia, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
it was very like uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Like, I never felt safe. Like I never felt comfortable. I was always the quiet kid.
And that was in Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado.
Okay.
Like,
And that's kind of surprising because, I mean, I have never been, I mean, I've been through Colorado, but I don't really know much about it. I mean, I went through, we drove through like parts, or I drove through parts of Colorado, and then like, it seems like Boulder and Denver are
yeah,
huge,
I was
like
in
enormous.
Denver.
Yeah, and so it seems like an enormous city. I
It
mean,
is.
or
And
both are enormous cities, but it seems like, I guess I always thought of Colorado as maybe more liberal, so I thought, but it wasn't. But there were also these people who were not so tolerant, so that's interesting.
It was very weird for me because so these people that I thought were my friends were actually, I realized they weren't really my friends. They were more so laughing at me than laughing with me. If that makes sense. Like my classmates, we'll be cool at one point, but then when it gets to somewhere, a situation where it's like, I remember one time, it was social studies, we're doing, I believe Civil War reenactment, flag football.
And that's probably difficult for you to go through that especially if there's some kind of ignorance.
Yeah, it was like the North versus the South. And me as a kid, very naive, I wasn't thinking anything of it.
Right.
So I was I believe I was on the north, I don't remember which side I was, but, being black, you're assumed as being very athletic. You
Mm,
know?
and I don't like that either. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
what you
was.
think about that,
Yeah,
but I
it
think
was
that is
very
just like
stereotypical.
stereotypical
Yes, and I
and
think
just
that is
like we're all human
not.
beings. That's a lie.
Yeah,
It depends on what you want to do, and
exactly.
we're all incredible as human beings. We could
Exactly.
probably achieve a lot of different things. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's
So
so
when
racist.
I didn't meet up to those stereotypes, like
Hmm.
they'll look at me confused and it's like, why would y'all expect me to be athletic just because I'm black? And
Mm.
I got tired. We were running, and I got tired, so I went to sit on the bleachers. And I remember his name. I don't know if I can name drop, but I remember I was calling him T.
Mhm.
This white boy
Mm.
came up to me whilst I was minding my business at the bleachers because I'm tired. I'm a kid.
Mm.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a
Right.
girl. I'm tired. I'm out of breath.
Right.
I'm trying to sit down, catch my
Right.
breath on the bleachers. And he was like, "Oh, great. The only nigger we
Oh
have
my
on our
God.
team decides to take a break."
That is
And
horrible.
as a kid,
Oh my God.
I didn't know what to do. I froze because
is
it's like
horrible.
no way that came out of your mouth. Like
Right.
no, I see this in movies. I see
Right.
this on the TV. I hear this on the news. But to really experience that was, I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. I just froze. It was like time froze when I heard those words. I didn't know what to do. I just froze, and
I don't. I just think
I
that that's so. I mean, there's that group of people that use that word within the
yeah.
African American community, but then it's like
He said it with an ER,
it
though,
is
like,
it is like I think that people don't think about that history behind that word and
yeah.
the trauma behind that word, and then the everything be
I
all
was
of this.
so
That's
confused.
horrific.
Because it's like, what provoked you to say that?
I
Just
think
because
he
I decided to take
he
a
wanted to
break.
hurt your feelings. I think that's what it was, and
And
then
it's crazy that why would you say such a hurtful thing? And I didn't know
right.
what to do. I went back home crying to my
Oh my
mom
God,
and
that's
crying to
horrible.
my little brother.
Right.
And my little brother the next day at lunchtime came up to him and he was like, "What did you say to my sister?"
And what did he say?
And he said, "I didn't say anything." My little brother repeated the same exact words he said to me. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it. I didn't say it. I'm sorry." And it's like the same confidence you used to say that word to
Right.
me. Why are you now denying it? Why are you now apologizing, crying, when you knew why you said that you did that intentionally to hurt me?
Right.
But when you're being confronted about it, now you want to act like the victim. When I was the victim, you called
Isn't that
me
crazy?
that word. So
But
it's
isn't
like,
that crazy that that's what's
yeah.
kind of happening in his history? Like, I mean, that kind of thing happening, and you see it happening almost in the media too.
Yeah.
You almost see this whole thing playing itself out in the media where people are saying, "Oh, well, these people are immigrants," and they're trying to, you know, you constantly see the word, even if they're not saying everybody is, you know, you see the word criminal put next to the word immigrant in 1,000 different articles in the news, and they're hurting people, like, and trying to take away Black history, for example. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
But then saying that if you talk about it, you're actually wounding other people on the other side, which is just like, instead of having a conversation about how to overcome this, and a realistic conversation about what happened, and then trying to make this country a better place. That's what I feel like. We should start from that, or have realistic conversations, and realize what happened, and then talk about how it could be changed, you know, and work towards that. Instead, we have people separating more, and where do you think about what do you think about all of these things, like the fact that in the U.S. now there's this whole emphasis on getting rid of like diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, for example?
I feel like it's really sad, and I feel like we're going backwards, and it's really heartbreaking because all the people that really fought so hard to put these things into place, it's like their hard work is being undone, and it's just happening right before our eyes. And I just feel like that is, it's just so sad. But at the same time, it's like, you guys voted for this person.
Right, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's
like, how could that happen? And then there were lots of people within the African American community that voted for, voted for Trump.
Most
Not
of the
that
African
many.
community
Yeah. In the African community too?
Yeah, I would say I
Ah,
wouldn't
okay.
say the African American community, because a lot of us, especially the black women, did vote for Kamala.
Right, did. Okay.
But so I can't really comment on the African American community, but
Well,
the
they said it was,
African community.
right, they said it was a more percentage of than before,
Mm-hmm.
like the percentage that Biden had in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say the black community,
Right.
you know, was higher in 2020 than in 2024. But
Right.
do you think that part of that is because of maybe disinformation too?
Oh,
Like,
definitely. Because I feel like a lot of people don't really do their research.
Mm-hmm.
They just vote for whoever I feel like is most popular, whoever their friends want to vote for. They don't really do their own research to find out the truth. Like, let's say there's some kind of misinformation or disinformation going on. That's why the internet exists. Like, do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Those could easily be debunked if you just did a simple Google search. But a lot of people, ignorance is bliss. So a lot of people would rather be ignorant than to actually make the effort and find out the truth for themselves. Which we're seeing the results of that today with having incompetent people running.
A lot of things, right? Yeah. People losing their jobs as well, and then what do you think on like once these initiatives are gone, does that mean that some of these people who are trying to hurt other people will get their way? Do you think that the courts and our checks and balances will stop this from happening, or do you think that there will be a way to how do you think people will fight that struggle? What do you think? It's complicated, I know. It's a difficult question, right?
I honestly, and I don't want to give the wrong answer. One thing about me,
There's
if I don't
no
know
wrong answer.
something, I'll say I don't know.
Yes.
But honestly, I honestly don't know.
Yes, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is very scary. Yeah.
I low key don't even want to think about that.
No.
It's scary to even try to think about how bad it could get with all of this going on. So honestly,
But you do think, we talked about that before, like maybe in 2028 people will change?
Oh, definitely.
I think it will
after
happen. I'm kind of hopeful.
Trump's presidency, I feel like some people just have to learn the hard way. I feel like it will open a lot of people's eyes to really not only look at it from a state level, but like start getting involved like locally with issues that with issues that they really care about, rather than looking at when it's time to vote for the president and getting involved.
That's true, because that can't change everything.
It doesn't really change much on that level, but
That's a good point.
a lot more impact is made locally than on the larger scale.
That's true.
What I'm saying makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that? What do you think about the American dream? Like, do you think that the American dream? What is the American dream, and do you think that the American dream, when it embraces diversity, do you think that can be rebuilt in the near future? I think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, with the right person in office. Emphasis on with the right person in office. And we have one job.
Right. So what do you think? Like, what do you think the American dream is, in your viewpoint, from your perspective?
From my perspective, at least growing up watching my family, the American dream is coming to America in better hopes of better opportunities, and just I don't know how to explain it. Just coming here in hopes of better opportunities and making a life for yourself, making a legacy for yourself.
And that's available to everyone, regardless of their background.
Color, financial status, or whatever. Like everybody can access both.
Right. That's really important.
American dream, because the reason why my grandparents came here to the States was to start over and build a legacy here, and that's why my grandparents brought my dad, and that's why my dad brought me here, so that I can have better opportunities here. Even though there was no problem back at home with the educational system, but
I
getting
heard.
jobs was
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Hard.
So, because there's not really it's a lot of graduates back at home that are jobless. They don't have
Right.
any work.
I heard that is actually happening in China too, because when you have,
Wow.
I think what happens is, I think Ghana is more developed than a lot of other places, and then that probably is like when a place develops a little faster than and more people get educated, then you have sometimes too many people getting educated, and when you have that, there's a problem. There's not enough jobs to go around, and so then the younger generation doesn't have the same opportunities, you know.
And that's exactly why my dad wanted me to come here in the United States, because he knew that if my child comes here and gets her education, she will be at least guaranteed much more than back at home to have a job and make a living for herself. And if she wants to move back at home, she can, but at least she has something to move back at home with, rather than staying back at home and worrying about how she's gonna get a job.
Right.
So that, I feel like, is the American dream.
That's great. Yeah, I like that. That's something worth that we need to really struggle for, right?
Yeah.
So everybody has the opportunity, and that's it's something that makes me personally proud about being an American. And I think we should value that. And I just don't get the point of like not giving everybody the same opportunities, or giving people also even the opportunity to escape from some persecution or something, and if they're willing to work hard to lift themselves up here, give them a chance to do that, because you know that changes, that will make our country stronger, right? What about do you feel like you were really young when you came here? Do you feel like you went through a period of like grieving or loss, like in terms of not being around Ghana and the trauma from the separation of your
definitely. I got homesick a lot. To this day, I still do. Because missing family back at home. I miss my childhood. I miss the innocence back at home. I miss not worrying about anything. Even to this day, Ghana is still the same way. Like, there's this saying that you cannot be sad when you're in Ghana. Because it's like Ghana is like a place where it's so peaceful. No matter the hardships that people go through, it makes it easier to go through those hardships because of your community.
Right.
Here they don't have that sense of community, but I feel like I have friends that are from down south, and I feel like we're more connected than we think we are. And down south, my friend told me that they have that sense of community like they do in Ghana. So I feel like they do have that sense of community in some places in America, but more so it's not as much as it is back at home in Ghana.
No.
There's this sense of loneliness here. That
that's
when you're at Ghana, you're not lonely, because it's seen as being very rude if you wake up and you don't say hi to your neighbors.
So many people here don't, though, right?
Exactly. You can wake up, you can live at a place for 6 years and never interact with your neighbors here. And it was another cultural shock to me here too. Like, when I moved here, when I moved down here to Virginia, well, Colorado too, we didn't really talk to our neighbors. If anything, we only said hi and bye to 1 or 2 neighbors. But it wasn't like, oh, I can go to my neighbor's house and eat lunch. I can.
No way, that could never happen,
I
right?
can just pop into my neighbor's house and eat their breakfast, or just say hi to them, chat with them. If I have nothing to do, I can watch TV with my neighbors. I can invite my neighbor over to watch TV, or our favorite telenovela with us, That's the thing. We bonded over shows back at home. Like, you could have a whole community come together at a certain time. Like, let's say 4 p.m. there's this telenovela, what is it called? Rosalinda.
Oh, okay.
I used to watch Rosalinda back in Ghana. And literally the whole community, Rosalinda will probably come on at 6 p.m. on the dot. Everybody's running to my neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Watch Rosalinda.
And you can eat a meal together and stuff like that, and talk.
Together, eat snacks together, talk about the show, laugh about the show. we can have a movie night with our neighbors.
Right.
That sense of community and togetherness was there.
Right.
But over here in the United States, I don't see that, and I feel like it makes it harder to go through things because you don't have anyone else to go through those things with.
I
You
agree.
don't have a community to at least distract you and let you forget about your problems at the moment. Back at home, let's say you're having financial issues. It's normalized to borrow from your neighbors. It's normalized to ask your neighbors for help. But
Oh,
here
okay.
it's more so you're on your own.
That's right.
You know,
You don't know, like, if you knock on your neighbor's door,
exactly. Like
somebody
am
might
I
have a
gonna
gun
get
or
shot?
something.
Yeah, am I going to get robbed?
Right.
Like, it's so different here. Everybody is so individual. Everybody is so to themselves. It's every man for themselves.
Partially for survival, in a
Yeah,
sense,
survival,
right?
and it makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
But back at home, it's so different. Like you can go to your neighbor, ask for advice. You could go to your neighbor and borrow money from them and pay them back.
It's like an extended family
Yeah,
almost, right?
it really is an extended family. Your neighbors are not seen as your neighbors; they're seen as your aunties and uncles.
Right, right.
So when I have a next door neighbor, I see them, I'm like, "Good morning, auntie. Good morning, uncle." We have no blood connections whatsoever.
Right.
But it's also a respect thing to call elders, aunties, uncle.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just a respect thing, and it's also like it also goes to prove the sense of community.
That's definitely like China too.
Yeah.
They do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember them calling me uncle or something.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's
in Chinese.
and it also shows like the connectedness in the community. So,
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's very different here. Like everybody is so to themselves.
Right.
It's still hard getting adjusted to that, but I miss that, and I also miss the food.
Yes, yeah.
Because you could use the ingredients here, but then again,
is it hard to get all the ingredients?
No, because we have African stores.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we have African grocery stores, but depending on the state you live in, those stores could be an hour away, 2 hours away. So, but back at home, you could just walk like 30 seconds and you see a corner store with fresh produce. But everything here is so processed that even if you make the food, it doesn't taste like how it would taste back at home.
Of course, yeah.
Because the ingredients here is even injected with chemicals.
Right.
So it's like, how can everything taste fresh?
Right, and they want to export that to Ghana, right?
Exactly.
So everybody will be eating that.
Yeah. So it was. I do miss the food a lot, and the nightlife there too. Like I remember, well, I was a kid, so I didn't really go out, but I watched my older cousins go out, and I could tell, like, you know, they have fun. Nobody was afraid of dancing, showing your moves.
Right.
But here, when you go out, it's like everybody has steez, you know, like they have this sense of I'm too cool to dance, I'm too cool to socialize with other people. But back at home, who cares? Have fun. Make friends, you know. Connect with people. You're out to have fun, and it's like the whole community. You knew people even when you went out because you know you see your neighbor.
Right.
Like, oh, what are you doing here? And then you guys would dance together, have fun. There was no sense of being afraid of getting made fun of or videotaped. Because
to denounce somebody or to make fun of somebody.
Exactly. Everybody
That's crazy.
was just in the moment. Everybody was just focused on having fun and having a good time. So that's another thing that I miss back at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you plan, like, after you graduate, where do you plan to go to? Do you also plan to go back to Ghana at some point too?
Definitely. I've considered dual citizenship a lot. That's what I plan on doing in the future when I'm more stable and I have money, of course, because you gotta have money to do these things.
Right.
You know? I definitely want to go back home and just give back to my community, have a business back at home so that I can be able to travel back and forth, live at home in Ghana, and also be able to live in the States here.
Okay.
So I definitely want to do that, but I will be going back home for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Since
when
I came here, I'll be going, God willing, November or December.
Oh, wow.
This year, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Are you graduating this?
Yeah, I'm graduating this May, so
Oh,
it'll be a
okay.
graduation gift for me.
Oh, wow,
To
that's
go back.
wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, that
Like,
sounds great.
I am excited to see
That
my
sounds great.
grandma. Yeah, I'm
Do you
excited.
think you'll feel like some kind of reverse culture shock because some things might have changed?
Most likely, most
Mm-hmm.
definitely, yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been
And then you've changed a little
a
over it.
lot. I've changed a lot, so it's definitely
Do you
going
think
to be
you?
a lot of cultural shock.
Yeah. Do you think you become like a? I mean, well, they do that sometimes. Like almost like people will be like asking questions about America all the time. Do you think?
Even when I'm on the phone with my
Yeah.
grandparents, they're like, "You're so Americanized."
Oh,
They're
okay.
like, "Yeah, American now. Wow, like, yeah, losing the accent, you're losing the language." I'm like, "Grandma, no, I'm not." She's like, "You can barely speak Tree." I'm like, "Yes, I can. I can definitely speak Tree. It's just that I'm not back home to speak it as often." So it's like I'm not as advanced that I should be in my language, which I'm trying very hard.
Yeah, I speak multiple languages like Spanish,
Yeah.
and then French, and
Mhm.
then Chinese, and
Oh,
then
wow.
Serbian, and I understand Italian. But I mean, so those languages along with English.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Chinese, for example, like we lived there for 8 years, so we were speaking Chinese all the time.
Wow.
But it's different
Yeah.
now, you know, being here.
'Cause
I
you
still
don't put
speak
it to
Chinese,
practice
but I
a
don't
lot.
use it every day.
Yeah,
So
so it's like it's going to be some gaps.
yes, there are some gaps, but I
Yeah.
still understand the majority
Right.
of everything. And then it's like I watch a lot of things online now because you have all of that.
Right.
But and then if I go to a Chinese restaurant, like I speak to them in Chinese, so they're really like
wow,
they're very
surprised.
happy, yeah. And then they're like, you know, they give me things sometimes like something extra or something because. But
yeah, we love it when people speak our language.
yeah. I think that's true everywhere, right?
Yeah,
It's nice to learn. And so, how many languages are there in Ghana? There must be a lot.
Ooh, it's a lot.
Because I was looking at that and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I don't know how many, like 50 or something
Yeah,
like.
it's like I believe more than 50 or probably 50. More than
Wow,
50,
wow.
yeah.
So, are you part of the dominant ethnic group or one of the dominant ethnic
Yeah,
groups?
I'm
or?
Ashanti.
Ashanti,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm Ashanti.
Uh-huh. And so the language associated.
Chi.
Chi.
Yes,
Okay.
Chi.
Okay.
So I speak Chi. I understand a little bit of Fante
Okay.
because I have some Fante friends.
Okay.
It's Fante. We have this joke where we basically like Fante is like cursive Chi.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like
Okay.
when I hear Fante, I can understand because my aunt lived in Tema.
Okay.
So I would go to like her place sometimes to visit. So I picked off of like the Fante a little bit.
Okay, so that was a
Yeah.
dominant Fante area.
Yeah, I think so. I was a kid, so I don't want to give inaccurate information.
Okay, that's
But
okay.
based off of my experience there,
Yes,
I heard a lot of Fante there.
Fante
so it's
there.
like-
And that's also like a secondary dominant ethnic group there too. Is it one
I
of the?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most popular ones
Mhm.
back at home is Ashanti, Fante, Ewe, Khan, Hausa. What's the other ones? I forgot, but that's the top 5 that I think of. When
Mm-hmm.
I
So they're
think
not
of
mutually intelligible though. They're very different.
Yeah, they're different. Well, Fantes and Ashantis are kind of similar in
Mhm.
a sense, but yeah, the rest are different, very different. Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And do you feel like Ghanaian identity because I mean, so English is what ties everybody together,
Yeah,
and that people still keep their tribal languages at home.
definitely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even it gets to a point they will speak Chi to you.
Yeah.
Because Chi is like the English in Ghana.
Okay.
But people still speak English. Like people
Mhm.
still understand English, but like Chi is like. the
Oh, so it's also
dominant
dominant.
language.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
in
that's
Ghana.
interesting.
It's yeah. So a lot of people they learn Chi because that's what is mostly spoken in
Mhm.
Ghana.
Mhm.
But if you speak English, they will definitely understand. You know,
Mhm.
from a young age, you're taught English in
Mhm.
school.
In school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of understand. So
Yeah.
so like English would be like more the language in school, and then
Yeah.
like Chi would be a language that you'd also use
Yeah.
in daily life.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's
but
interesting.
If you speak English, they will understand.
They will understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just they prefer Chi.
You're right. That's
Yeah.
interesting. And now, what about the countries nearby? Like, do they? Some of them does that do some people speak Chi in the countries nearby as well?
Based off of my experience, at least, I can't really speak too much on it because, again, I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I witnessed, like they will have like they say alatafo, which is Nigerians.
Mm-hmm.
When they will come to Ghana, they'll learn how to speak Chi.
Okay.
Yeah. The Togo people,
Mm-hmm.
the Togolese people, when they come to Ghana, they'll learn how to speak Chi. The Cameroonians.
Right, in Togo they speak French too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Because one of my neighbors was from Togo, and he spoke French to me, so he was
definitely.
really happy. Like, he was like
You
knocking
speak
on my door, and
French.
he's like, "Can you speak French?" And then he was like, "You speak French so fluently." He's like, "You're so happy,"
That's
you know.
a sense of community.
Yes,
back
it
at
is.
home.
It's that same thing.
And it's good
He was
that
the
you guys
only
have
neighbor that
connection.
really would
Try.
see us all the
Yeah.
time and do things with us. Like,
And
we really loved that. That was really nice. Yeah.
and it's good to have neighbors like that because
Right.
then it makes you feel like it feels like you're back home. You know,
Mhm.
like that sense of community,
Yeah.
bonding with your neighbors and stuff. So I think
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like that. Do you now do you have to do you bring gifts to like the people if you go back, like when you go back, will you bring some gifts or not?
Yeah.
Is that kind of is that within the tradition
Yeah, it's like
there?
it's like an unspoken rule in a sense.
Mm.
You don't come back from abroad empty-handed.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to come back with something to show that yes, you spent your life abroad. You know that yes, you did something with your life.
That's because when we go to my wife's country in
Mhm.
Serbia, I mean she's American now too, but I mean when we go there, sometimes we have two suitcases. One
Yeah.
suitcase is with our stuff, and the other suitcase is with gifts
Yeah.
that we're gonna give
And
everybody
then
from
you buy
America.
an extra suitcase with stuff from back home to bring here.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah.
That is true too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
But yeah, definitely I do. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
But also, sorry, I just blanked out.
That's okay.
What were we?
What about generosity and
Oh,
things
yeah,
like
yeah,
that? Is
so-
that
Yeah, with that, I remember my dad and my grandparents, whenever they would come back from America,
mm-hmm.
they would bring me clothes and snacks and
Right.
favorite drinks that I know I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I would wear it to school and I'll take some snacks with me to school and I'll show it off and be like, yeah, my grandma brought me this
Yes.
from America.
Right.
My grandpa, and then you can't visit your family members without giving them money
Oh, right.
because it's like you're seen as better off than them. So
Right.
it's like they expect you to not come with cash without cash in your hand.
Right.
Come to it's like
It seems like that's also probably what the new generation wants. The younger generation wants more money now too.
Yeah. So
Is
it's
that
like
true?
when my parents go back, especially to visit my cousins too, they go back with clothes and shoes and money.
Mm-hmm.
To
Right.
just get them here, to just this is a little small something. They say they have the saying where take this money to buy water.
Oh, okay.
Basically, just basically it basically means spend it however you want to
You
spend
want?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like it's like a little token
Right.
that you
Right.
have to give to family members back at home when
Right.
you visit them. You never show up empty-handed because then they're gonna look at you like, so what did you do with your life abroad? How you
That's a
came
good
back
point.
empty-handed,
Right.
You're
Right.
supposed to come to prove to us to show us that you did something with your life abroad.
Okay.
Like
That makes sense.
yeah, like you're doing good in the States. So
Right.
give us a little something
Right.
that's,
To show.
to show
Yeah.
that you made something out of yourself abroad.
Now, let's say if you go out to eat with a friend or something, like, who pays? Is it expected that like if you
Yeah.
invite somebody, then you will pay for everything, or how is it different than in America?
That was another huge shock for me. How are you going to invite somebody somewhere and then expect them to pay themselves?
Which happens here, right?
It happened to me and I was shocked. And
Right.
thank God I have my money,
Right.
But I was just like, it didn't make sense to me,
Right.
You invited me to your birthday party,
Right.
but you're making me pay.
Right.
Because back at home, it's like everybody come enjoy. It's a birthday party, everything on me.
Right.
Kind of attitude, kind of energy. if you invite your friends over to lunch, we're fighting each other
Mm-hmm.
to see who gets to pay what. And
Okay, that's like my wife's culture,
yeah,
and in China
yeah.
too.
Even though I was young at that time, because I'm just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have money, but I saw it among my mom and her friends
Mm-hmm.
and my uncles.
Mm-hmm.
When they see me, they'll take me out. They'll be like, "Oh, I'll pay for you." My mom will go out with her friend, and she'll pay for her. My mom will fight with her to pay for her.
Right.
It was just a normal thing. But here,
That's what happens
like,
in China too.
Yeah, but
They'd be like, we'd be eating together, and we would think that we would pay, and then they would like just our friends would go away for a second, and then they would pay for everything, and then it's like we didn't even know, and it's like, and then we wanted to actually pay, and so that's like the argument, like like we should have paid, why did you do that?
And I love that.
That is nice though. It's like
is.
generosity, right?
It is.
So.
Generosity is a big thing in my culture.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, I mean, now I'm used to it. Because I'm so used to it, I don't see it as a problem now because I understand, cultural differences.
It's everybody pays for himself or herself,
exactly.
Right? Almost, right?
So I understand, but like with my closer circle, if we're all financially straight, because I understand, even though we want to help each other pay for our meals, sometimes we can only focus on ourselves because we can only, pay for afford to pay for ourselves. So I understand that. But when we are all like in good financial standing, we all fight each other on who to pay for what.
Oh, okay.
Because we're like, okay, I can do this now, so let me pay for you. No, it's okay, I'll pay for myself, let me pay for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I have a lot of African friends.
Oh, right.
So it's like.
So they keep that custom.
Yeah, we keep that custom.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that we don't do that is if someone in our friend group is struggling financially, then we understand and we try to help each other out.
Right.
But yeah. It's very different here, but I'm not offended by it anymore because it's like
You're used to it.
I'm used to it now.
Right.
So it's like I don't expect that.
Right.
I'm even surprised if someone offers to pay for my meal.
Right,
so
right.
It's like it's kind of switched now that I've spent most of my life here.
Right, of course.
So, yeah. But it'll be nice.
That'll be interesting when you go back, right?
It'll
There'll be
like
you'll notice some things like some things about how you have changed, and then maybe also you'll see some things that you expected like to be the same because you remember when you were a kid and it was like this.
If anything, they always expect me to pay for them
right.
because I'm the one from abroad.
Exactly.
So
yes, they will do that. I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm looking forward to it.
And then people who don't know you might want to get to know you just because you're from America now.
Exactly.
Like okay, so my wife didn't like that. Like when we were in we're in a big building, so it's like a big apartment building with many floors. And so once they found out that I was from America, then like people who didn't even know her family or anything, they were like knocking on the door trying to get to know me and everything, which is like a good thing, but then like it can take away from time that you could spend with family, So.
And back home, I don't know if this happens to you, but even if they don't know you, because you're American, they will assume you're rich and they'll ask you for money.
That's true.
And it's like, I don't even know you.
Right.
But back at home, generosity is such a big thing in our culture. It's embedded in our culture. So it's like, even if I don't know the person, they ask for money. It's like, you have no choice but to give them the money.
Right, yeah.
Out of generosity. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. But if you do have it, it's like, your heart tugs at you to just give them.
Right.
Because you could make it back anyways, back in
That's
the
true.
States. So it's like,
it
doesn't hurt to give them money. Even though you don't know them, it just doesn't hurt.
That's something like, that like when we were in China and then like some people selling things at the marketplace, they would be so happy, like because we understand them, and then they would be so happy that they charge us a little more because we were foreigners, but the fact is that we were working over there. We were not working in the United States, but it was okay. It's not even that much money. I mean, it wasn't that bad. So, that is true. That can happen. So what do you think is the value of being bicultural or multicultural? I think this will probably be my last question, but what do you think about that?
The value of being multicultural, I feel like it expands your worldview on things and your perception on things. And I feel like it keeps you grounded in a sense. I don't know how to explain it. Because like it's a lot of human, respect that is embedded in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like just respecting each other, treating each other the way you expect to be treated.
Right.
So those little things is
Mm-hmm.
like embedded in you because of cultural values. So it's like it kind of keeps you grounded in a sense. I
Right.
don't know how to explain it. Sorry, I said
Right. No, that makes sense.
But yeah, and also like it makes you like have a broader perspective of a lot of things. It doesn't make you see things in just one side, one way.
Right.
You see it from like a different perspective because you've seen both sides of the story. So it's like
Right.
you can never really it allows you to understand from both point of views.
Do you think, yeah, that's very interesting. And do you feel like it's also somewhat of a privilege to be able to have that?
Definitely. Because back at home, there are some cultural practices that are very toxic
Mm-hmm.
that I probably wouldn't have known if I didn't come to the United States.
Right.
Especially with how women are treated and how women are expected to kind of water down themselves and belittle themselves to make their husbands more comfortable.
Oh,
Back here in the States is frowned upon. Like women are more empowered here.
More independent.
Independent and celebrated here, but back at home, women are kind of seen to depend more on the men, and that can be very dangerous sometimes.
Yes, because you're not also reaching your full potential as a human being.
And
you're being held back.
Exactly, and also like let's say you're in a domestic situation, domestic abuse situation. It makes it harder to leave because your source of living is the man that is abusing you, and it's hard to leave that abusive man because it's like you didn't finish your education, you don't have any work experience because you've depended on this person for so long. How are you going to leave? And marriage is also very treasured in a sense.
Right. It's almost like you could be disgraced in your own community,
right? If you go and divorce a person who divorces. So it's like those things really like coming back to that's another thing that I'm very grateful that I'm able to see from the brighter perspective when I came to the States, because I would have probably been blindsided if I lived back at home my whole life, because I would have thought those things are normal, which is not normal. Shouldn't be normalized. Those practices shouldn't be normalized. But here is frowned upon and it's not normalized at all. And I'm grateful that America showed me that I can be more than just being a woman. I can reach my full potential. I could also do something with my life. I could also be bigger. I could compete with my male counterparts, and I'm not seen as greedy.
Right.
Or I'm not seen as an overachiever or anything.
Right.
Like I can do more.
Right.
And I feel like that's a good thing.
Yeah. Do you feel like with the fact that we could almost have the first I'm sorry, you probably have to go too, but with the opportunity to have the first female president, and and do you think that there's still some latent sexism here in this country as well?
Definitely, because we all know that Kamala was more than overqualified for her position. But a lot of people, I feel like part of the reason why she lost is because a lot of people could not accept the fact that she could have potentially been, the first female leader, in the United States. And we have one job. I always say this: we have one job. Such a great candidate. She was overqualified to be a president, but I guess America wasn't ready for a female president, a black female president to be exact.
Right.
So it's like.
Right. And. But you think that will change in the near future? I think it will.
I do have hopes that it will change in the future. Yeah, definitely. With our generation, at least with my generation, at least, like I could see that changing.
That happens.
Especially learning from what Donald Trump is doing now. If nobody learns their lesson after him,
I can't believe I don't know what to do anymore. Yes,
so
that's true.
I feel like with everything happening, I feel like people will learn their lesson and be more careful about who they put in office.
Right.
So I do have hope for the future for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And what about the future of Ghana too? I'm asking you so many questions, but I have so many.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I completely understand. Well, I can't really speak too much on the future for Ghana because I I am not living there, so
Of course.
I cannot speak for them.
That's true.
But I'm not too involved in the politics back at home.
No.
Either, so I can't answer that question, but I can say that I do have hope for my country that we can very much do better and be better and develop. There's always room for improvement at the end of
Right.
the day. So yeah, I do have hope that Ghana will become better than it already is.
Mm-hmm. And it's already a democracy, and compared to other countries nearby,
even Nigerians testified about Ghana. They say Ghana is better than Nigeria. You know, Nigerians and Ghanaians, we have this little beef. Like,
oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
okay.
Especially with jollof wars. Ghana jollof is the best. I have to say this.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. It's like this little argument that Ghanaians and Nigerians have with each other.
Oh, okay.
Whose jollof rice is the best?
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows Ghana jollof is the best.
Oh,
But
okay.
besides that, like, everybody that travels to Ghana from different parts of Africa, they always say that Ghana is honestly an amazing country. Like,
okay.
it's very developed. Like, the culture, the people are very peaceful. The people are very respectful.
That's nice.
The infrastructure is very different. The system works in Ghana compared to the other countries
okay.
in Africa. So
right.
Ghana is doing good, but we could definitely do better and do more. At least from what I hear, from what I see.
Right.
I don't know how accurate what is really, really going on, so I can't really speak too much on it. But
no.
What I know, I can say that Ghana is doing pretty well.
Right. It'll be interesting for you to go when you go back.
Definitely.
You know.
I'm looking forward to that for sure. And
that's so exciting.
Talk to my people about what has been happening.
yes.
What have I missed?
That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
That's true. Well, it was wonderful interviewing you. I
Thank
really
you for
enjoyed
having
it.
Me. I did too.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm down to talk about anything else.
Okay, that's
in
great.
In the near future, so yeah.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
You for having me.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care.
You as well.